Schtick Show.
Aloha, and welcome to the Joy Schtick Show, a weekly podcast where three friends from Hawaii talk story about pop culture things that bring us joy. Shout out to Mahalas for checking us out. If can, please like and subscribe on any and every podcast platform, also on YouTube's. A 5-star review is greatly appreciated and helps us out a ton. I'm your co-host Drake, and that's Thomas.
What up, what up? For the last time this year.
Oh, what up for the last time this year? And that's Scott.
How's it?
For the last time this year.
For the last time this year.
Hey. And this is our end of year episode, or EOY, and also too, if you're keeping track, episode 172. And we've got some things that we need to review. Could you take us through, I guess, our categories for the list here?
I can't believe it. I feel like we just did this episode. I'm not kidding. And so we're back with our annual top picks for the Schticks 2024 edition. This is the third year we've done it. We didn't do one our first year that we started, but we're here. We're past our 3-year anniversary, which was in September. I didn't even realize that. We didn't even say anything. We didn't even address it to the world, but this is our 3rd anniversary of this episode, and what a year it's been. We almost put out 50 episodes this year. To your point, Drake, I don't even know if we said this while we were recording, but that was almost one a week. We were 3 shy, and God, it was an incredible year, and there was a lot of great things. And there was I will say this though, I didn't feel like it was a good movies year, and it wasn't a big comic book year for me, and it wasn't a big comedian year for me. Like, there was comedians I really dug, there was things I dug, but like nothing was like, man, I'm gonna add that in my top of the year list. Like, I don't know about you guys, but that's kind of how I felt about it after like recapping everything we covered this year.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Yeah.
It was hard for me to find, like, there's a lot of movies I watched, but they were just, kind of okay. You're going to hear our top 3, and I think the ones I picked ended up being the ones that just kind of maybe stood out the most. But
yeah,
I enjoyed a lot of them, but it's not like, like some other years. Like last year, we had some really big ones.
We did.
Yeah.
We had the Barbenheimer, like that. Like, the fact that I remember that, like, what did we have this year? We had Glicked or something. Like, that didn't hit. A lot of you didn't hit.
It wasn't very popular.
Oh shit! Did you just drop that? Remember it? Well done. Give me the chills. So the categories for this year, which they were every year really, is top animation. So you can do an anime here. You can do an animated show. If you have nothing, you can do an animated movie. Then we got top shows. This one, I had so many, but we're only again, it's top 3 of all of these. We have top movies, and we have top video games, and the last category is top comics/books. So you can put in comedians, stand-up specials, and comic book series here. So yeah, and I think that we can kick off with top anime animation, and we're gonna go our 3, 2, 1, or while you do your 3, drop in your consolation one as well, one that almost broke into your top 3 but didn't quite get there. Yeah, and then we'll kick it off with you, Drake.
All right. So in terms of top animation, I've definitely got 3, and I've got a kind of a honorable mention, but not really. So I would say top 3. I'm not going to put them in order, but I would go Kimetsu no Yaiba, which is the most recent one, the Demon Slayer. I thought it was kind of a great crescendo into kind of what we're going to be seeing moving forward. A bunch of battles that we're really looking forward to. Dandadan, I think, was fantastic. I didn't expect to like it getting into it, and it was just one that I think really pushed some boundaries, and it was a really surprise anime for me.
I mean, one that literally did, like the first episode where the girl's on the table and the alien dudes are in there. You're like, wait, is this gonna like do a little nuts. Grapey here? And then you're like, these are high school kids. It's a crazy show.
Yeah, it was getting real weird. and I really liked it, and I'm pretty sure it's on other people's lists here in terms of animation. And by I say that I liked it, it's not so much how how much grapes it was going to get in the beginning, but how it kind of built itself out. It wasn't it was based off of yokai, but it wasn't too much about it. It wasn't very shonen jumpy. At the same point in time, it had some elements that I think can stick to it for the rest of the time. But another one that I thought went under the radar, and I think I ended up really enjoying it, was Zack Snyder's Twilight of the Gods on Netflix.
Oh, you watched that?
Yeah,
Nice. I had no idea.
there's a bunch of things I liked about it. Obviously some of that God stuff. Just because I do like Mia Hercules, I thought that was fantastic. And it was just, animation was great, voice acting was great. Kind of gave a different take on a Loki, and things of the such. And then
Wait.
let's see.
Let's talk a little bit more about this. Wait, so
Yes.
is this in your top 3 or is this honorable
It's
mentions?
honorable.
It's
No,
honorable.
those are all my top 3. Yeah, those
Okay.
are my
Okay,
top three.
okay.
Yeah.
Well,
Mhm.
So tell me more. The only thing I know about that show is that
Yeah.
Zack Snyder did it. And then
Oh.
nobody said a thing. I don't know if Rebel Moon killed all the hype around it, but like I don't
Yeah.
know anything about that show. And I didn't hear anybody talk about it on the
So,
internet.
essentially the Jotunheim are a big part of it, and
The Norse gods.
there's a female who's essentially half giant, half I guess human being, and something takes place where she's looking to exact revenge, and the revenge she's
She's
looking
Sylvie
to seek
from Loki.
is
then?
against Thor. Pretty much.
Okay.
So the whole time she's gathering a band of individuals. It's kind of got like a Dungeons and Dragons / Vox Machina vibe, where they're essentially trying to kill Thor, and there's all these little back dealings with other gods, and it's you're seeing kind of the darker side of this type of realm, and then on top of that, the battles are super cool. Voice acting is really cool. You get to see a Thor as more of a bad guy and a Loki as more of like an in-between. It's definitely more emotional than I thought it would be. And it takes into account things like dwarves. It takes into account a lot more darker elements of what we think of, almost God of War type situation as well too. It was very well done. Animation was a little bit more cel shady, I think. I would say Vox Machina is probably better animated, but for the style of animation, I thought the story just blew itself out of the water. Definitely a recommend.
Wow.
Nice.
Nice.
Okay. I'm gonna check it out.
For sure.
Yeah.
for
It's
sure.
like your honorable mention is like the one I'm most interested in now. So well done there.
Yeah.
All right, Scott, what is your top 3? You could just give your 3 if you want and your honorable mention, and we could go back and forth, or you could drop them all.
Do it.
Yeah, I guess shoot, I have like 3 American animation and like Japanese animation. You know what I mean?
You 3 of each.
Could I do that? Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Okay. Give
Is that
us
cool?
your consolation and your third place.
Okay, cool. So I think consolation for the American, I'd have to go with Invincible. It was a part 2 to the series. Still really good. I love me some Invincible, but I think that was probably the only reason was because it wasn't the full season.
Mhm.
I have
And honestly, I forgot about it. Like, yeah, I have my list, but I thought, man, should I put Invincible here? But I was like, maybe because they broke up that season, it didn't land for me as much as some of the other shows I had of it did, if that makes sense.
Yeah. No, yeah, that makes sense. My number 3 for the American side would be Vox Machina.
Yeah, boy.
Yeah, that one
Fucking stole my list.
so good. Yeah, it's on your
You
list.
stole my list.
Yeah, I did, dude.
Dang, dude.
Let me keep going first, boy.
No me. Yeah, let's talk Vox Machina because God, this show just doesn't miss, right? Like it's always just so good. It's always so good.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm always invested, and like they come out with 3 at a time, and they do such a good job of like, starting high, the middle episode, like it's still interesting, but they always end it with like, I can't wait till next week,
Right.
It freaking flew by. Like before you knew it, the 4 weeks went by, and you're like, now I gotta wait like, hopefully
Another
just a
year.
year. Like,
Yeah.
it was so good.
It's almost like the more I thought about Vox Machina this year, the more I'm like, wow, this is almost like American anime, because the
Mm.
animation is incredible. The action is so good. And you're right. Every episode ends on this hook that you're like, wait, what? What happens next week? And then you have to go and just so that you can get 5 more minutes, 10 more minutes of the next episode. So your brain isn't like, I need to know what happens next. And yes, this season was no different. Plus, the other anime-ish element to the Vox Machina is that they keep finding new ways to level up. And just when you think they couldn't get any more powerful, it's still not enough for the next threat, the next villain, especially like the dragon. I was like, God, this show is so good in that aspect. They really just do a good job of just, you think that they're at their peak and yet they still need more. They still need more room to grow. So good. Yeah.
And even when like side characters die in this show, I'm like, no, like, and that's how you know it's good. It's like, I'm invested in everybody. So it's great. I really enjoy it.
Yeah, this season also brought in like a bunch of like love relationships. Like a bunch of the team members were all hooking up, and like they didn't hold back. You're like, this is some adult animation because they're banging hard in this one, and I was like, wow, they're going for it. So
I also like the because Christine's watched like the campaign, so like there's certain things that are like happen just like it, or there's events that happen that they work into the show. Like the in the show when what's his name's in the hot tub and then the brother joins.
Vex and Vax. Or it was like Percy and Vax or Vex.
Yeah. And then like his sister's there the whole time, like you don't know, and then she pops up like, oh. So like when they did the live campaign, like Christine was telling me, when they did the live campaign, I think he was in a bath and then like the kind came in and they're just having a scene no one knows, and then when the scene ends she just goes, and then I pop out of the water, and then it's like, oh crap, like it's kind of like an add-on thing, organically very funny, and they're like, we got to put that in the show, and they just did a little different. So it's cool hearing the behind the scenes almost like live commentary from Christine, so that's adds so to it for me for sure.
Hell yeah, that's so good. That show is incredible. Love that cast. All right, what's your number 2?
Number 2 I have is for American Arcane.
Nice.
I just love it all around. It's really great.
Crazy enough, that was my consolation. I know I'll probably get raked over the coals for it, but I didn't quite finish it yet. But it was you
know what? Actually,
a little bit.
I'm so sorry. I think because I split it, that would be my number 1. My American, it'd be Arcade, Vox, and then Invincible, because my number 1 is actually my anime number 1 now. So.
Okay.
But sorry, what were you saying?
So why your number 1?
I don't know. It's definitely one that I know nothing about that universe. And I guess, no one really did. Like this is kind of like a new start. So like whether you played the game or not, the only thing that you know is like maybe the characters. But they do such a good job. Yeah. And they do such a good job of just like bringing you into that world. The animation is like, it's not just one style animation, which I like. It's like it jumps around. And they do a good job of like picking certain styles to emote or make you feel what they want you to feel for like the scene or whatever character gets introduced, whatnot. The voice acting is freaking amazing. And
like when Caitlin's was it her mom dies and then all of that was drawn in chalk, like that black chalk. Yeah. Just at the funeral scene, you're like, wow, that's such a visually impactful way to show how depressed she is and sad. But then they bring in this incredible music too, and you're like, okay, I get it. Like it's so easy. Like they tell you so much without telling you. Just showing you, letting you hear it, letting you experience it. I would agree. Yeah. I would agree with that.
Yeah, totally. And I like it's like a unique take on like incorporating magic and technology. Like, like it's if someone told you like, oh, this show's about that, you'd have your own way of maybe thinking of how it looked, but it's really cool the way they do it and like what they're able to do, like what they dipped into time and all this kind of like, it's just, I never know where it's going to go, but I know it's like going to be good. And I really like that about the show. Yeah,
it is. Yeah. I mean, and think about the iconic characters that have come from this now when you got Jinx and Vi and Caitlyn, like all of these characters are like larger than life. And at a bunch of conventions this year, you see them everywhere. Like I think Jinx is supposed to be like 16, but like every guy who likes any anime girl, her design is awesome. She's like a Zendaya-ish character. Like taking the age like reasoning out of it. But I think that they've just done such a good job of just character design, world building, and yeah, it just the action too. The way they've been able to. I'm thinking more from season 1, but when they have that battle on the bridge, and it's Jinx versus the one kid who has like the hoverboard, and they're about to battle, and that she's kind of like predicting. Right? Oh yeah, literally. There's like echoes of her and him as she shoots the gun and showing him dodge and everything. God, that was so freaking cool. And they give you a lot more of that in season 2, along with the emotional gut punch of like, I have to be against my sister. Wait, maybe my sister's not the bad guy. I think from a story standpoint too, it just kind of perfectly meshes everything together.
Yeah, even the what should I drawing a blank on his name, but their father figure returns to the werewolf.
Oh gosh, yeah. Oh,
I like that perspective they'd show too. Like every time he's in that beast form, it's like that Hulk vision almost. Like, you know, like like just how it's like you're still kind of terrified even going through his body. You're like, oh man, like anything he comes across is just gonna die. Like, you know,
right.
Yeah, they did such a good job of like perspective and whatnot. So yeah, it's good.
I dig it. So crazy enough for me, that was my consolation. But with the caveat, I have not finished it yet. I was really digging it, but I do feel that it slows down a little in the middle, and I kind of like lost track. Other things popped up, but I will finish it. And I went back and watched season 1 later, and it was like so good. When you devote time to it, and you really, it's like you will miss so much by not paying attention to that show. You kind of have to really watch it in order to catch everything in there. So I will go back and finish it. But so right now it's at a consolation for me. Then I have Vox Machina. Number 2, I have Creature Commandos.
Nice.
I will say, like, when the first episode, I didn't really love it as much as the internet was loving it, because I was like, man, this is just like the Suicide Squad. And I was really hoping James Gunn would take something and do something completely different. But now that we're however many weeks in, 5 weeks in, 6 weeks in, and showing how he's going through all the different characters' backstories and still progressing the other story, I'm like, this is masterful. And he's letting everybody cook. David Harbour as Frankenstein is killer. Frank Grillo as Rick Flag Sr. is awesome. Like, you can just hear everybody's personalities come through the characters. And again, I really like the animation. It's very close to Vox Machina. Again, I want to say though, I think Arcane has the best animation out of all these, but it's really damn good, and it's so crispy in Creature Commandos. So that's my number 2, and number 1 should surprise no one. I'm gonna let you guys get. What do you think it is? For animation.
Madam Web. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, if that was a cartoon.
Oh, wait.
Yeah, if that was also animation. We're gonna go with X-Men 97 because.
Because no, stop. Fuck.
I forgot about that.
Freaking idiots.
That's my number 1, guys. That's my number 1.
X-Men 97 this year blew all my expectations out of the water. Since COVID, I've been watching the original one, the animated series, still recapping it. I was like, there's no way they can make it like as good as this and everything. But somehow they found this natural evolution of the animation and evolution of the characters, found people that sounded exactly like them, and then brought people back from there. And then obviously, I mean, this is before I like really knew anybody on the show. And now I have this added element of knowing everybody. But I think that they also just stuck the landing with the story. Every week was really interesting. Like, you have this crazy ensemble of characters. And I think this is something Creature Commandos does well too. And Vox Machina does well. You care about all the different characters. You care about the side characters too, as you're talking about. But it brought in some heavy stakes. There was people that died with Gambit this year. And then it leaves you at the end of the season like, how the hell they're all scattered throughout time. How are they going to come back from this? And it just was so good and so amazing. The added bonus was the online rhetoric around it was so amazing too. Like, so many people were pumped on this. Chatting with people on Threads, on Instagram, on TikTok was so fun. I had just such a blast with this show, more than a lot of shows we've been doing over the last 3 years. I had so much fun with this show. And I think just from an overall experience, like, nothing can top X-Men 97 for me in terms of like animation. And yeah, maybe that'll give you a little hint as to where I'm at with shows. But I think that brings us into shows. Drake, why don't you give us your honorable mention and your number 3?
So my honorable mention is probably going to be a Bad Batch. It closed out the season this year, and kind of brought everything together. I think again, it's an underrated show. And then in terms of top shows, I would say in order
This is
from
hard, dude.
Yeah,
3
to
to
number
1.
one. Yeah, this one is hard.
I would go, and I'm just being Fallout, Avatar: The
Okay.
Last Airbender, and obviously Shogun number 1. Duh.
Okay. I knew
Yeah.
Shogun was going to be there, but
Yeah.
Avatar: The Last Airbender in second place.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay.
I would have put Level Up in there, but I only liked really one episode of Level Up. So
Yeah. Secret
The
level.
Pac-Man
yeah,
one.
yeah. Yeah.
Pac-Man. That was a weird level.
Yeah, I
Like,
know that's
that was
fucking
a weird
dude.
episode, right?
That was
Talk
really-
about creative freedom on that one.
I know. I
Um,
was like, okay.
You're like, I guess.
Yeah.
But
So-
Avatar.
So give us a
number
little
2,
thing. Give us a little thing on like Fallout, then Avatar, and then why
Yeah.
Shogun.
So Fallout, I want to say it was just surprising. I didn't expect it to be as good as it was. I thought the casting was great, obviously, for the tomatoes. And
Your favorite
it-
saying, I think, this year.
my
That's amazing.
number one saying.
Yeah.
And just how it kind of played out, it was dramatic, but it was funny. It didn't take itself too seriously, but it was very true to the actual IP. And having also gone to FanCon and watching Ella Purnell speak on it a little bit more kind of brought me a little bit closer to it. And so I really appreciated it, I think, a little bit more. In terms of Avatar: The Last Airbender, I mean, I think it was a surprise because, I mean, the last live action Airbender, apologies, Senor, just didn't do it good, right?
yeah.
And
You're
then
not thinking of
Shyamalan
his name?
just didn't do
Because
it
I
good.
couldn't think of his name either. I was like,
Yeah, I was like,
I wanna
throw
throw
your
your
life
life
right.
right.
yeah,
Shyamalan.
M. Night, yeah. He just did. I just thought it for a live action, the casting I thought was relatively spot on in comparison to how the characters acted in the roles. I thought it was a very interesting portrayal of like what it would look like in live action, and I think it actually plays. I think there's a future for Avatar moving forward, and obviously that studio moving forward. So I was very excited to see that, and also too, it was an American kind of built thing, and it's nice to see that kind of put its footprints in the sand and keep them there.
Mhm.
And Shogun, I think, obviously because it was just the best live action historical, or I guess you could say semi-historical slash sort of autobiographical, but not really, like Japanese culture of that time that has ever taken place on TV, that shows it in a realistic way, but also a dramatic way, but also not overdoing the Japanese culture and then not whiteifying it in a way that we're kind of used to. So that in general is just day after or week after week waiting for the episode to come out, and then cliffhanger after cliffhanger, and then really getting to know these characters, and just watching Anna Sawai and Hiroyuki Sonoda just dominate in terms of their acting prowess. It was just kind of a beautiful thing to see. So Shogun, obviously.
Yeah. It was, they crushed it with it. And yeah, it's like you never really know. And then you hear FX and you're like, really? Like,
Yeah, I
how's
know.
this gonna be? And then you get those first couple episodes, you're like, oh wow, like this, they are putting the money where the mouth is. Like you see it on screen. And that is, yeah, that doesn't always happen. So man, I think Shogun was by far like just a surprisingly a quality show this year. It was so damn good.
Mhm.
All right, should I skip Scott so you can copy?
Yeah, you want
me,
to try it
or-
out? Let's try that out.
Sure.
So whatever Thomas says, you got a list. You got my list. So
You know what?
that.
I actually think we're gonna differ pretty heavily on
we
this
probably will.
one.
There was a lot of good shows. I have to say. Like
there
I
was. This
I
was
have
the
like
toughest category for me.
50 honorable mentions or something.
Right?
Not that much,
Right.
but it's so many.
No, but I do too. So
Not
yeah,
50.
let's talk about honorable mentions, because this was crazy. I have The Penguin,
Mhm,
I have True Detective season 4,
mhm.
I have Hacks
Damn.
season 3, and I have Fallout. Like to
That's a good list right there. Yeah.
right. And all those shows for things that you said, Drake, Colin Farrell absolutely crushed it. True Detective, like getting Jodie Foster back and that story and seeing that part of Alaska and the mystery with like the sci-fi elements to it were great. And you know how much I love Hacks. I love Hacks to death. I will hope they continue to make that show forever. So all of those things, and then Fallout to all the points you said, Drake. And so like those were so good. But then my number 3, I have The Boys season 4, and I loved it. I know not everybody loved it. I know the internet hated it, but you know, call me woke. I dug the shit out of that show, and I think it's fantastic. It always surprises me that element of having Jeffrey Dean Morgan in Billy Butcher's head, where it's not him. You kind of get like a Fight Club-esque moment there. Surprised the hell out of me. And then just the satire, the way it like puts a mirror on like real life society. I dig the shit out of it. I think The Boys is so good. This season killed it for me. So number 3, The Boys season 4.
The Boys.
You
So you're just doing you're gonna do your top 2 one?
Oh no, go for it. You can do your honorable mentions and your 3. And then
Okay, I got a lot of honorable mentions. Okay.
fire away.
Dude, there was as you guys did, you probably went on Google and was like, okay, top shows, top movies, what's going on? What did I forget? Right?
Didn't do that.
I forgot House of Ninjas was this year, dude.
Yeah,
Bro, that was
yeah.
and it was good. It
as
was such an entertaining show.
Yeah.
Definitely
Good,
in the honorable mentions. And it's not like Agatha all along, you know,
Okay,
so good. Ted, I have The Boys on there. I think maybe my number 3, probably it's hard to do 1,
So
2,
it sounds
3,
like
but
a game time decision.
Tires is up there. Tires.
Oh, okay.
Tires.
I'd say Tires.
Okay,
It was
yeah.
cool to see like an actual, because I know Ted's in there too, but Tires was more like, I mean, I'm a fan of Shane Gillis. It was cool to see him come out with a show that's very much him and his boys style of comedy.
Yeah.
And they do well. Like just to have a comedy that was just fun to just throw on. You don't got to think too hard on it, and it's just like you're just having a good time. It was
It
nice
just, like,
to.
It kind of
that.
felt like The Office to me, but like through Shane Gillis's lens.
Yeah.
You know, and
Mhm.
you're like, yes, I'm so glad they let him just cook like this and just see what he came up with.
Yeah.
And every episode was so fun and delightful. It's not like super heavy. It's just like it gives me The Office vibes, but a little bit edgier.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Yep, for sure.
It's awesome, man. All right. So my number 2 is you mentioned it in your honorable mentions, but I had such a fun time with it. I had no expectation that the show was going to be good. I was like, nobody wants this, nobody needs it. And then it came out, and I'm like, every episode, I'm like, man, is this show good? Man, is Catherine Hahn cooking?
Yeah.
God, wait, am I interested? Wait, is this building the Marvel universe? Agatha all along stole the show from me. I was so surprised how good and how much I love this show. And again, like big thing for me is how much I get to like interact with other people around these shows. And there was such a positive online discourse that I was chatting with people all week long about Agatha. It was so fun. So Agatha all along like stole number 2 for me, which I really didn't expect it. If you had given me this in the beginning of the year, I would have been like, this isn't even gonna crack my top 10.
Yeah.
And it's here. It's my top 2. I dug the shit out of the show.
Damn, dude.
Sweet.
Mhm.
Okay, I gotta say my second would probably be Penguin. I think
All right.
it was like a show that could have maybe just not even been a DC show, you know, and it was still
Yeah.
good. Like there was they didn't like rely on referencing Batman or anything. They just let Colin Farrell be this dude in a fat suit who you
Gonna
believe was a
moiter
real
you.
person. Yeah.
Kill
Hey,
me,
what you
man.
doing? Yeah.
I'm gonna moito him.
I got to moiter him. Yeah. I
Like
killed my
a moiter.
brothers. Yeah.
Best.
They did such a good job of making you like be on his side and then go, you're a piece of shit. And then be on his side and this piece of shit.
Mhm.
And then the ultimate, like, this guy's a piece of shit and he's delusional. Like, you know, like he's just like, oh yeah, he's a Batman villain, you know, like it was just such a good job. Colin Farrell crushed it. The whole cast really crushed it. But it was just like the fact that I know it's Colin Farrell and I'm looking at him and I'm hearing him talk and I'm like, I still can't see it.
Right.
That's amazing.
Like literally, they showed a scene where it was like maybe the last scene they were filming, and he was in the full penguin makeup and prosthetics, and then he's using his regular voice.
Yes.
And my brain was like, I see this, I hear this,
Yeah.
but it doesn't make sense. Like it wasn't work. Like, well, my brain is breaking trying to watch this video. That's how good of a job he did as that character.
Yes.
With that accent, right? It's like,
yeah.
It's like, you know, he's in there, and then when you hear it, you're like, what? There's no way. Like, it's like, put this way, like, you could even hear Jim Carrey in The Grinch, you know, and he was like a different being. Yeah. But I couldn't see Colin Farrell in this character. It was just so good. Yeah,
so good. Yeah, well said. Well said. Kristen Milioti too. You props,
she crushed it. Yeah,
she did something very special in that show too, and that was pretty awesome. And then I cheated. Last one, I just straight cheat. X-Men 97. Again, I got it. It's my top show too. I'm biased. Okay. Again, I just didn't expect them to land the plane, and they did. And every week was so good, and every week was so interesting.
It was really good. I forgot about the show. You know?
And it was
like,
drama.
I mean, it's good.
Yeah, I mean, it had all the drama that the Penguin had for me, but just not as heavy. Right. But like there was still like,
but there were some heavy parts. Yeah,
there was. And there was like some people getting pregnant that shouldn't have. And like what they did for my boy Cyclops. Like anytime you make Cyclops look like a badass, I'm like, oh, so into this. But then you have like, is Rogue going to go with Magneto or is she going to be with Gambit? Well, she chooses Gambit over Magneto, but Gambit never gets to hear because he dies at the end. You're like, what? It just, fuck. Oh, love that show. It was such an X-Men year and I'm here for it. So yes,
no, that's good. That's fair, dude. That should have been on my list for the other one, but I have I have Shogun at number one. Like I think,
you do,
for all the reasons you guys were talking about. You know, it was so well done. The fact that it was like an FX show, like I can't imagine watching this on TV with commercials. Like I'm so glad we got to just watch it like straight through. But like the fact that this is like a show that's just like, you're going to get ads for Charmin in the middle of it. You know, like, it's just like, it doesn't make sense. It's like, it should be a movie. It was like that kind of quality.
Charmin clean.
Yeah. Then you're back to like, I don't know. But,
that would have ruined it.
Yeah. But yeah, for all the same, it was just so good. And I can't wait for the next season. I don't even know what it's about, but I'm on board. You know what I mean? Like, if they're going to carry on, they're going to do a whole new story. Like, they've already showed me they can do a great job and that they care about what they're doing. I'm on board. So,
yeah. It has this element too of like where everybody doesn't feel safe, which was something that House of the Dragon or like Game of Thrones really did well, where like there's increasing stakes, but you never know who's going to make it to the end. And like when Anna Sawai dies, you're like, are you serious? Like, no way, did she just get exploded?
I know.
Or
that was crazy. Yeah. That was a crazy way to go out too.
Or what Toranaga does to his like right-hand guy at the end, who kind of tries to betray him. And then he like kills him or makes him do seppuku there. It's like, for real, it just, nobody's safe in that show. It feels so raw and it feels so like it puts you on edge in this good way, but yet it's slow and methodical. The only reason for me that Shogun wasn't like top spot is I do fall in that camp that I wanted to see that last battle, and I know that's not the point of the story. I know artistically it doesn't need to be there, but like for me, I did want to see it because it gets the whole season hyping up to this point where there's going to be a battle. What is your thoughts on that? Like either one of you? I'm like,
I was fine with that. I thought that was, for me, I thought it was brilliant. I thought it was like, we got to see into the mind of like how, like, we're just assuming, you know, we know he's smart and he's thinking ahead. We got to see that at the end where we're like, this is a glimpse of what's going to happen. And that's like months from now. And you're like, oh shit. So like, he's thinking about next year's Christmas already. You know what I mean? Like he's just like ahead of the game. It was, I thought it was cool. I didn't think we needed to, I mean, it would have been cool to see the battle, but it's also like when you're watching like a chess master play some dude and they like do two moves and they're like, checkmate. And you're like, what? Like, I want to see a bigger, you know, it's like, sorry, dude. Like, this guy's just way better than you. Like, it's just what it is. Yeah.
It's awesome.
That's why I was fine with it.
I agree with that.
Very nice. Well, a great year in shows, so many awesome shows. And I hope everybody gets a chance to like at least try most of these because they were all so damn good.
Yeah. Now, wait, real quick. Yeah. So sorry. I just want to do my top 3 Japanese animation. Kaiju no 8. Check that out. It's pretty like, it's like,
I heard it's
growing up, we'd like that, I think. Huh?
I heard like the action in it is like
yeah, action's
phenomenal.
amazing. This dude like gets kaiju powers and he can like transform almost like the Hulk. And then he's also trying to hide it because if they find out, they want to kill him because he was on a team where they kill kaijus. So he's like a hybrid. Cool show. Action's amazing. Dragon Ball Daima, actually pretty cool. It takes you back. It feels like Dragon Ball with that mix of Dragon Ball Z. You know, they keep going up. You're like, how do they bring it back? And this was like, I feel like a cool way to like do it. Animation's great. A lot of nostalgia there. And then of course Dan to Dan. Yeah. Amazing.
Yeah.
Okay. So I just want to
No, that's
forget.
perfect. Okay, that's awesome. Okay, I want to check out the rest. I gotta finish Dan and Dan. I need to watch like those 2 other shows because I heard kaiju people were freaking out about it this year and have not dug into it. But I did dig into Blue Lock, and Blue Lock is getting, I think season 2 just ended and everything, and that was incredible this year. So thank you, Drake, for that recommendation, even though that didn't come out this year. Now, okay, we are into top movies. I don't think the movies, for me personally, I don't think movies delivered as much this year as some as the shows did. Or yeah, just I don't think they did. Like there were so many movies I watched when I was going through my list, and I was like, watch that, didn't love it, watch that, didn't love it, watch that, didn't love it. So it was yeah, so I don't know if my list is going to be that impressive, but either way, Drake, kick it off with your, honorable mention 3.
I would go honorable mention is a tie between Moana 2 and Bad Boys Ride or Die 2.
Shut up. Are you serious?
Yep.
Okay. I don't know if you're joking.
Last year I said the Meg too. So
okay, so the reason why I'm saying both of those is because I'm nostalgic for Bad Boys. I love Bad Boys since it initially came out. Right. And you know, obviously with the whole Will Smith situation, it was kind of tough. And then like you think, oh, they can't possibly make it, they can't possibly continue this, making it watchable. And it was watchable. It was exciting. I mean, the story it still played in line. It was pretty decent. It was decent.
Dude, honestly, I watched it on a plane over to London, and I'm like, man, this is a good movie.
Yeah, it's not terrible.
No, I mean it's good. I'm not gonna say
camera
it's like
angles,
great.
Yeah,
the camera was cool. The way they kind of follow the gun
sick.
Sometimes as they're flipping it. The way they brought in like Vanessa Hudgens and that cast back, but also like Will Smith's son from the last movie and worked him into the center. It was like really, really well done. And then good. Martin Lawrence getting his like new take on life from almost dying to then like how all of a sudden he's like, I got a vision, man. They can't kill me. I'm not gonna die. So he's just like walking in traffic. It was hilarious.
It was hilarious. Yeah, it was nostalgic. Yeah, to your point, it was nostalgic and it was really good. In terms of the second honorable mention of Moana 2 is because could it have been better? Yes, but the fact that things like Lilo and Stitch and Moana are gonna get live actions is just again nice to see kind of that polyculture still in like mainstream. So that's the only reason why I would put that in there. But number 3, Dune Part 2.
We got the same thing.
Yeah. Because it was just good. What more can you say about it? It was just good.
Yeah, it was so good. I think visually too. I think where it stands apart, there was a lot of movies this year that have a lot of visual aspects that are awesome. But this clearly was on a different level. The color grading, the way they kind of make the desert look these shades of orange and then this like shade of white and tan and the way it kind of plays up the religious aspect and turning a very complicated story into something anybody can follow, but then making it interesting. And then you have all these sexy young actors and the fights were cool. Yeah, I thought that was really good. I didn't love it walking out of the theater. I will say that. Like I was like, I don't get it. I don't like it. I don't dig it. And then the more I sat on it, then I watched the second time. And then the second time I watched it, I was like, oh shit, I get it. This movie is incredible. So yeah, I think, I agree with you. That's why Dune Part 3 is my number 3. Or Dune Part 2 is my number 3.
Yeah.
Scott?
Okay. What's your honorable mention though, Tom?
Oh, honorable mention? I got Alien Romulus and Inside Out 2.
Okay.
Really dug Alien Romulus. I thought that was so fun. Yeah, you talked about it before. It took me months. I had to wait till it came out on Max, and then I finally watched it. And I was like, "Oh shit, this is a really good Alien movie," and it ties in things from the original Alien. But like all those young actors were great, and it was an awesome, fun movie. Tons of action, pretty scary. And then Inside Out 2, I was like, "There's no way Inside Out 2 is better than Inside Out 1," and
That was
everybody
really
was
good,
saying,
right?
Yeah.
"Oh my
Wasn't bad.
god, that was like it hit me in the feels." And yeah, it has some similar things to my number one movie, but I was like, wow, they really did it. They found a new way to make this even this world better and more interesting and more complex and grow with the character. I thought that was so good. So yeah, those are my consolations.
Yeah, this one's hard just because like it's not like there was a ton of movies. I know we were talking about earlier. There's definitely certain movies that were like undeniably good. There were certain ones that were way better than I thought they were going to be. Like I'm like, this had no business being this good. And then there were ones that are like, yeah, I enjoyed the shit out of them. Like it should be up there, but then should it be up there because it's a given? You know what I mean?
This is your rankings. So
This is the inner thing in my head that's going on. Okay?
So, this is your Inside Out.
I think because Inside Out for sure is on there as honorable mention. And then things are weaving back and forth. Like, so I got Wicked on here for honorable mention.
Oh, dude.
It was so
thought about
good,
adding it here.
but
it was so good.
And it's one of those movies like I'm not normally I'm not normally a musical person, you know.
Oh,
but
I thought you just didn't like women leads.
Well, we don't talk about that on the podcast. Just joking. But yeah, I was just like, that's normally not my jam. But it was really good. I was like,
So
holy
good.
crap. And then like it's part one. I'm like, I gotta see part two now. You know, like, and of course there's those memes going around like bros going into Wicked and then coming out, you know.
This
I'm like,
movie's
yeah,
not
that's
about
me.
Boston at all, bro. This movie's not about Boston. But it was wicked good.
Yeah, wicked good.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah, exactly that. Another would be Transformers 1.
Yeah.
Like that was way better than I thought it was gonna be. I figured it'd just be like a cute kid movie, and I was like, dude, I wish I grew up with this movie. Like this is great. It's cool.
That's a great call out.
I'd say, yeah, I think my number 3, I think would be because it's hard to 1 to 3, but I'd say Doom Part 2 as well. Like that was like probably one of the biggest blockbuster serious drama movies that was like, that was most like a film. You know, and also like for the masses.
Right.
It was great. I liked it. Yeah. So.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it filled that Oppenheimer void. But yeah, I'm sure there's a lot of people out there who would be like, I can't believe that's not your number one, but it just didn't hit me as much as these other two films did in the ways I needed it to. And so I think, Drake, do you want to drop we'll quickly go through our number 2s and then your number 1.
Yeah, my number 2 is a Beetlejuice.
Oh, hell yeah.
That one's good. Yeah, that was good too.
Yeah. I finally got a chance to watch it, and I was pleasantly surprised. I thought it was a beautiful kind of homage to the original, obviously OG cast. I mean,
You're such a Keaton fan too.
Yeah,
right?
I'm definitely a Keaton fan. It makes me just really believe in Tim Burton as well too. Just how that's also played into it, and costume design was great. I think story was pretty good. I would have liked them to include individuals like Gina from the OG, but I understand moving forward. I thought all the acting was great. I thought the story kind of went to a different place where it kind of refocused everything. It could give us a Beetlejuice as like a finale, which would be interesting. At the same point in time, I'm happy with Beetlejuice, and it was very nostalgic. It was very fun. So it's my number 2.
Yeah, he was so funny in that movie. Like, and I didn't even expect the whole musical number in the middle of it, which was so funny. Like, and the lip syncing and that movie. Wow, so funny.
It was good.
Yeah,
and Danny DeVito in it just for no reason. I remember like Christine going, "Is that Danny DeVito?" And he's like, just a far shot when he's like this big, and I'm like, I don't. Yeah, I think so. Like you can just tell by like the back of his head, like. And then it is, and he dies. You're like, what? So funny.
Yeah. Tim Burton is a G, man. And obviously him and Jenna Ortega working together is like, they're crushing it. Winona Ryder coming back was amazing in that movie too. But my all-time favorite in that one was Justin Trudeau. Like he just being like, I don't know, just that Hollywood guy who
Dude,
doesn't
that's
quite
so
get it. Like
Yeah.
to me, had some of the funniest lines. So yeah, that's a good
Oh,
pick.
and yeah, he was so funny. Was like just being like that overly whatever. Did he have a ponytail in that movie too or something?
Yeah.
That was great.
He's like
And
Seagal.
Catherine Hahn was hilarious. Like
Oh,
she's
Catherine
like,
Hahn, yeah.
I am art or whatever. Like she's like on the screen. Like
Yeah.
fucking
Just-
funny, dude.
They did such a good job for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
My other second movie was like supposed to be, I guess, could be considered like the biggest movie of the year, apart from Dune Part 2. But I liked it because it was also really funny. I dug the shit out of it. I think this was a match made in heaven, and it gave something nerds have been wanting for 20 years. And I like everywhere around where I lived in San Diego, like you could not go somewhere without seeing an ad for it on a bus, on a Jack in the
Venom.
Box,
Roadhouse.
Yes.
Madam
Yeah, Madam Web. No,
Web, here we go.
Deadpool and Wolverine, I think,
Oh, okay.
absolutely delivered on what it needed to do. It wasn't, yeah, like, okay, you could chime in whenever you want, Scott, but like, was the story light? Yes. Does it really make sense all the way around? Not really. But man, was it badass to see Hugh Jackman and Ryan Reynolds do their thing
Yes.
as
Yeah.
their characters? Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah.
Were they funny? Yes.
Exactly. This is like one of those like it's in my top list because the top 3 because I definitely am a big nerd and I want to see superheroes I grew up with on the big screen. Like it's kind of like, yeah, if you don't like it, it's definitely not gonna be your top 3. Like, and I get that, right? But this is one of those like, yeah, it's like a no-brainer. Like it's definitely up there. So funny seeing Hugh Jackman. He's always like, man, this might be the last time we get him. So it's probably not, but it was
That was
so
definitely
cool to
not.
see it. Yeah.
You're gonna keep
definitely
have him do it till he's 90. Like that's real at this point.
not. Yeah,
They're
for
gonna
sure.
be pushing Wolverine out in a wheelchair to get Hugh Jackman back on screen.
Yeah, he's gonna become Xavier somehow.
Oh, in the multiverse, maybe.
There you go.
Hey.
Yeah, but yeah, I agree. Good time. Made me
Yeah,
laugh.
it's fun.
All the action.
Yeah.
It's great.
God, and the surprise cameos. I mean, like bringing in Channing Tatum to play Gambit was
Yeah.
like crazy, you know, because you just like us knowing a lot of behind the scenes for these movies and shows, like how much he wanted that. And if you could give your friend something they've always wanted and do it in a way that they just get to look like a badass and just really dive in, like, wouldn't you
Yeah.
do it? 100% I would. And so like just getting them to see it in all his glory and for the rest of the world just to dig it too, I think was so special. Like they're going to be best friends forever on top of it, just like Hugh Jackman and Ryan Reynolds. And yeah, it was like, even if they never get to do another movie together again, it's like, we got this movie. And again, the story was whatever, it was light. I really feel like there's some plot issues in it, but from like an aesthetic standpoint, from fun, if you literally just take Plane, Trains, and Automobiles, like a comparison of like what they were able to do of these unlikely pair getting to go on an adventure, and then by the end of it they find their way back and to each other, that makes them better people. Like you get that from this movie. It's fucking awesome. Loved it.
Yeah.
Loved it.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, anything else? Oh, so I think we're in number ones now.
Yeah. Drake, what's your number 1, bro?
Oh, my number 1 was Deadpool and Wolverine. So
Nice. Okay.
Well,
Yeah.
tell us why.
I just thought it was. It's like when LeBron was coming out of high school, and you were like, "Wow, this guy's gonna dominate," and then you always have in the back of your head, like, I don't know, like sometimes it just doesn't work out, and then he dominates, and then you're like, "Yeah, I freaking knew it," and that's kind of how Deadpool and Wolverine was. Like expectations met, fun met. All the things that you wanted it to do and more met. You couldn't think of a more like money back guarantee.
More Met movie.
Yeah, like more met movie. Like what else delivered
Say that
more
with
than?
Remember we
fast.
were having a conversation just wondering if it was gonna break $1 billion. Like we already
Yeah.
knew it was gonna do well. We're like, you think he's gonna make
Yeah.
$1 billion? Like, yeah. So
Yep. Yeah.
so good.
I'm
So
sure
hype.
it got pretty close. I think it was in the 800 millions, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, which is real impressive.
Yeah.
They smashed it. They
Yeah.
smashed it. What was I gonna say? The theater vibe to it too. Like I don't know what your theaters were like, but every time I was in the theater, like people were laughing,
Yeah.
people were cheering. Yeah, when Wesley Snipes' Blade came out, people were like, "Oh," you know, like there was that element. When Chris Evans popped up on screen, everybody in my theater lost their mind. No, they were excited. And then when he goes, "Oh, are you gonna see the thing?" And it's like Avengers, and he goes, "Flame on!" People lost
they're
their
like,
shit in my
"Whoa,
theater.
shit."
You like lost their
Okay.
shit, and then, like that feeling of like it feels like you're at a concert or you're at a sports game, like you're at a live game. You know, when like your team just scored. It's just like, oh my god, yes, and that's how it felt like watching that movie too. And yeah, that was just, oh man,
That's true.
Oh.
It's like rare that sort of stuff happens, right? Like I remember when the
No,
first
definitely.
Transformers came out and they showed Optimus Prime on the hill, and everyone was like, "Yeah," like, you know, because like
Yeah.
they've only ever got the cartoon. They're like, "It's
Yeah, yeah.
real."
Yeah.
Like, you know,
Right.
Yeah.
Gross revenue for Deadpool and Wolverine,
Yeah,
1.34 billion.
it made a
Hell
billion.
yeah,
Why did I
dude.
forget it made a billion?
Gross
That's crazy.
rev. Yeah.
Wow.
Crazy.
Damn, made a billion. Yeah, I think it deserves it, and I think it shows that they're in such a tough couple years for Marvel when there's a lot of people who feel like they've lost their way and dipped, and yes, has everything been out of 10? No, it hasn't been, but I didn't expect things to be that way at Endgame. I feel like this with X-Men 97, with Agatha, like shut a lot of people down this year, and people are like Marvel sucks, it's dead. They're still crushing it, and I think this movie really showed like Marvel still can do some amazing stuff, and it's got, if you got the right actors behind it and the right creative talent around it, it's going to be insane. So that actually did not give it my number one. My number one,
I think I know what you're gonna say. I think we have the same thing
Ooh.
here.
oh no,
Okay.
okay, let me say
We
it
might have
first.
the same thing.
Okay,
Okay.
say it on three.
Say it on
All
Okay,
three.
wait. 1, 2,
Two,
3.
three.
Twisters.
The Wild Robot.
So Glenn Powell crushed it, right? No, yeah, I have the Wild Robot for sure.
Okay.
That's
Although
a good
Twisters was pretty good too.
This
Not
is
gonna
actually
lie.
better than I thought it was gonna be. Yeah.
Way better than I thought. That cast too was amazing. Like, think about the talent in that movie. But that's neither here nor there. I
Yeah.
think you should watch Twisters, The Wild Robot. Let's
Mhm.
go for it because
No.
yeah, God, this movie wrecked
This-
me.
Yeah, that really. Like anytime an animation movie can just make me start sobbing.
Yeah,
And it's just like I was just thinking, like, man, this cartoon's making me cry. It's not real.
right.
Like it's doing a good job. A lot of feels in this movie, but also rewatchability. It's not so sad
Yes.
where you're like, I'll never watch
Yeah.
that again. Like it's not like AI or something,
Yeah.
Yeah, it was so good. And then
AI is your
immediately,
go-to sad movie.
not my go-to, but it made me cry the first time I watched it. I'm like, I don't know if I'm gonna watch this again. Yeah, when he leaves the robot boy in the woods and he's like, what? And like, no, we can't. Like Lassie said, like, get out of here, you robot, throwing rocks. He's like, oh, I was a lot younger then. It was a sad movie.
Jesus.
Just bringing back memories.
Good
Yeah.
call.
Well, to that point too, like a kid can watch it, an adult can watch it, a teen can watch it. They can all take something from it. It's just rare in movies nowadays.
Very
So
true.
true. Yeah, it has nothing to do with like politics or whatever. It's just a good story.
Mhm.
And it, like literally, yeah, I did think about man, if I was a kid, this would be such a fun time. It'd be scary at the end with the big fight, and like, are they gonna take away the robot, and then like all the animals are gonna miss her, but then like for me, it made me think like, God, can I handle being a parrot? Which is so crazy. And of all the movies I've watched this year, which was a lot, like this was one of those that made me think the most, along with like Dune Part 2. And I'm just
Yeah.
like, God, am I ready to like take this next adventure? And how being so many lessons from this movie. It shouldn't have affected me the way it did, but it does. And
Yeah.
fuck, I loved it. I loved the Wild Robot.
And so much humor in there for like even adults. Like I love
Totally.
the whole possum mom talking
Yeah.
about what it's like
Yeah,
gonna be
yeah.
like a parent, and then like you just hear
Yeah,
she's
it's
like, oh
the
well,
same mom from Beetlejuice and from Schitt's Creek and all that. I'm forgetting what her name is.
oh Catherine Hahn.
No, Catherine Hahn's the Agatha. We might have said that earlier, but I don't
Oh,
think
she's the mom in Beetlejuice though.
Oh,
Is it
Catherine?
Catherine?
Oh, no, it's
O'Hara.
Catherine
O'Hara, sorry, yeah, not Hahn.
O'Hara. That's what
I
it
was
is.
thinking O'Hara, but I said Hahn. My bad.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
Catherine O'Hara.
I was
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
audience will let us slide once. They won't let us slide twice.
They won't, and don't let us slide. Go to the
Right,
comments.
right.
Let us know. But yeah, the humor's great.
Pedro's the fox, funny.
So funny. Yeah.
Matthew Berry's the beaver, funny. Like,
yeah.
it was, man, that was good. That was
Yeah.
really well done. Even the little
Mhm.
kid who was the duck and starts copying the mom or the robot.
Mm,
He starts doing robot things and stuff. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
great.
It's so good. So
Yeah.
good. They crush it. That's like, what is the animation company? Imagination.
DreamWorks.
That
DreamWorks
was
Imagination, I think.
DreamWorks, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
God
it's
dang,
DreamWorks.
they're so good.
Real good.
That movie just should.
And they're gonna have a sequel, right?
Are they?
That's what I thought.
I wouldn't be surprised. But
Right?
I
thought I got green light.
Maybe, but I forgot Deadpool Wolverine made $1 billion. So I don't know. This year's up. I don't remember anything. I'm just trying to get finished. I'm just here so I don't get fined. All right. So okay, I think that's
It's currently in development of DreamWorks. Okay, I had to Google it.
Let's go.
Hell yeah.
Let's go. That's
Do
awesome,
it, baby.
Yeah, movies. None of us brought up Furiosa.
Yours was good.
We didn't really bring up Twisters. Yeah, but there were some solid movies, but I just don't think this movie was movies compared to shows. Shows by far took the cake this year. And then I think that brings us to video games, and pretty decent year, I think, in video games. I didn't get all of them. I didn't get Star Wars Outlaws. I didn't get Baldur's Gate. Trying
Was
to think
that
of what
this
else.
year, Baldur's Gate?
Was it? Maybe it was it. Well, we had Elden Ring DLC. I didn't get that. We didn't get a few like Nintendo games. I kind of just stuck to the ones that we were all playing together. But I will say, Drake, you could take it away on like what game stood out to you this year.
Honorable mentions: Harry Potter Quidditch. And
Did that come out this year?
Yeah, it was this year.
Came out this year, yeah.
Are you? Oh, Harry Potter Quidditch, not
Harry Potter
Quidditch.
Not Legacy, not
No,
Legacy.
not Legacy.
Oh, no, Legacy.
Legacy was last year, but
Okay.
Quidditch came out this year. Yeah.
Jesus, I was like, man, where did this
yeah.
year go? I thought Legacy for a second.
Dude, that would be sick. That was Harry Potter Quidditch was a great game. Also, too, in my honorable mention is Marvel Rivals, and the only reason why is because I haven't played enough of it yet, but I do enjoy it. But my number 3 is Tiny Glade.
Oh, what is it? Tell us more.
It is so Tiny Glade is a Steam game. It was kind of getting a lot of accolades at one point in time just because it's a very chill game. So it's kind of like a cell shaded builder. And all you're doing is you're like building a castle, and then you can put water down, and you can make fences, and you can put up lights, and you can put up things the other. You can kind of expand it. Everything kind of just works really nice. You can change the mood and the environment in terms of like the season, and it's just like a patient. I'm drinking coffee. I'm killing some time building this thing. Tiny Glade is just it's a very relaxing.
But the soundtrack is great.
It's beautiful. To what pressure washing was for you, Scott, Tiny Glade is like a builder as well.
Nice.
Oh yeah.
So doing it up.
Awesome. I love it. Okay, so in my constellations, I got 2 side scroller beat 'em ups that I had a shit ton of fun with this year. First one is Streets of Rage 4. That was like my put on a podcast. I'm not going anywhere tonight, and I'm just gonna like beat up a bunch of shit. It was so fun, reminiscing. And then on top of that, I will add in Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Reader's Revenge, which just came out recently. But yeah, I haven't played a ton of it, but as I play it, it's just so, it just kind of is that thing. It's not as relaxing as like a pressure wash situation would be, but I could just zone out and then just jam on that game and watch YouTube videos or listen to a podcast. And yeah, it's like they did a really good job with it. It really feels like nostalgic too. Like the way even when you punch the putties, it sounds like the show. There's like the same music from like the originals, like 90s show. And then seeing that crew back, and they made them decently different enough to where like each Power Ranger has their own like moveset and stuff. It's fun. So I really dug that. But yeah, that's it for my constellation.
That's sick.
Sweet. So you guys, my constellation is one that you guys both mentioned for me. The Power Washer game. Pretty fun game. You power wash things and it's relaxing. It's really strange even to just like mention it. Probably more enjoyable than actual power washing in real life, less work. It's all digital, and you get to power wash, like Shrek's house, SpongeBob's house, like all the DeLorean from Back to the Future, pretty cool stuff. Just a lot of that kind of stuff. You can chase the nozzles and all that stuff. And you can have a podcast going. You can do whatever. You can like learn something at the time. It's just like, I'm stressed out. I got to de-stress, focus on like a single thing. And it's like adult coloring books, but no mess. It's all digital, baby.
I was like watching, we were chatting one time, and I was watching you play it, and I was like, what? That can't be that fun. But then this year at IGN Live, they had a bunch of Steam Decks set up, and it had Power Washer on there. And I played it for like whatever 20 minutes. And I was like, "Fuck, this is so nice. I feel so zenned out, dude."
Yeah.
Except for there was 1% you had to spray in this room. I couldn't find it. It was
That's always the
early,
most annoying
so
thing when you're
bad.
done. You're like, where is it? And then now you're stressed again.
Yeah, and then the stress goes up. But that game is like so good. Yeah,
Mhm.
it's I do love power washing in real life too.
Oh,
But just
cool.
the
I've never
amount you
done
can
it. So.
do, like you can't power wash in a house normally, and just
Yeah.
in the house spray and everything. That game's
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah.
Whoever came up with that idea is genius.
Yep.
All right, Drake,
Oh,
take it away.
Um,
Your 3, 2, 1.
my number 2 is Helldivers 2.
Nice.
I
Right there
mean,
with you.
in general, I think we've spent a lot of time playing the game. It was really fun. The only reason why it's on the list is just because we've been able to have a plethora of fun, much like World War Z. If we could count DLCs, like World War Z is still
Oh,
pumping
for
out
sure.
stuff.
Yeah, I was thinking that too.
Yeah.
But at the
Totally
same point in
we
time,
should
like
count that.
Helldivers 2, in terms of like the game that came out, I believe this year,
Yeah.
we put in a lot of hours, and it was just a really good time. It's just mindless shooting, and it's ever evolving, just like World War Z is. So
Yeah.
keeping it numerous.
It is mindless, but it also, like, the coordination has to be there. When you get to the
True.
higher levels, like you gotta communicate, and you're not invincible like some of these other games. Like you have to strategize as a team, and like us all chatting together and stuff. You're right. That probably should be my number 1. It is my number 2 as of right now. But another game that I have. So to get to my 3, or to get to my 2, my number 3 is Warhammer 40K. I really enjoyed playing that with you guys too. That was a shit ton of fun. Introducing me to the Warhammer universe that I had seen so much about, but like seeing that and then getting the secret level episode, and then like what you send me from YouTube, and I'm like, holy shit, Warhammer is so crazy. And now with Henry Cavill, that game was really tight too. But I think there's similarities between the Warhammer and the Helldivers. But you're right. I think Helldivers edges it out just a little bit. How we had so much fun with that game this year. Or I did.
Yeah.
Yep.
Scotty?
For sure. Yeah, I think we have like the same things, but they're like in a different order. Pretty sure.
Okay.
So my number 3 would be Marvel Rivals, but mainly because, like Drake was saying, I haven't played as much. But I like all the games that we get to play together, minus Power Washer. It's an only me thing, so don't even try it. But Marvel Rivals, great time. I like just like jumping around, and like the other games, like if you dial in, you could dominate, or you have to dial in, or you'll get dominated, or you can just like, this team's not that bad. We'll just all be whatever, and then still have a good time. You can talk shit or like be real serious. And then my number 2 would probably be Warhammer, mainly because I'm not that good at it.
Okay.
Yeah, that's why it was my number 3. I was like getting owned when I wasn't playing with you guys.
Yeah, it's really cool, and I want to learn more about the lore. It's kind of cool to just like, I feel like Warhammer is almost like introducing One Piece of people. Like there's just so much to get into. But unlike One Piece, like One Piece is very linear. Like this is like you could kind of dive in from wherever and then like work your way to what you like. But yeah, overall it's fun. The co-op. I've only ever played the co-op with you guys, and it's a blast. So
nice.
Yeah.
So I think that brings me. Did you say your number 1, Drake?
Oh no. My number 1 is Warhammer.
For sure.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it definitely introduced me to the situation of Warhammer as a whole. And you know what happens if I get too into something, I fucking just start spiraling into the void.
Well, this is how I know you really like something is when we start getting in the group chat, we start getting articles, YouTube videos, and like, hey guys, watch this, check this out about this game. You're like, oh fuck, Drake likes this.
Super sick, dude.
Yeah.
Like, so much so like I ended up fucking reading the lore, buying the minis, painting fucking minis, and like obviously Kobe's into it as well too, so that's been pretty chill beans.
You guys played a game recently, right?
Yeah, we played a tabletop game recently, so it's
Nice.
It's pretty interesting. It's like a more focused Dungeons and Dragons, but and then specific to the lore, and then now you're seeing kind of Warhammer explode with Astartes, and then the individual who made Astartes who directed the level up
Secret level.
secret level episode.
Yeah.
And then what they're doing, what Henry Cavill's doing, it's just like a real nice to kind of
Hell yeah.
get into it. Yeah.
I think the secret level episode, like standalone, is like one of the best episodes in the series.
That was so good.
Bruh. I was like, if that doesn't get you hyped for fucking Warhammer, like I don't know what, then you're not into it. Then I guess.
And you were right
You
about
don't
that.
have a pulse.
Yeah. Because I was the
like,
last one to watch that. I'm like, let me see what this is about. And I'm like, this is fucking cool.
It was so good.
It's fucking sick. It's
That
badass.
one, I think like that one, the Mega Man episode, and I really like the Arnold
Mega Man was
episode,
good.
like whatever the pirate world was, where he keeps like getting revived. And don't know
I
if
didn't
you've
see
seen
that one. I saw the Mega Man one though, but
That one is
check out
super
your thought.
good. Yeah, so I think those three were the top, but by far, like the Warhammer one was a standout. They
That
killed
was
it with
great.
that. Yeah,
That I
And it-
hope they do more Warhammer and then Mega Man as well. Like it ended
Mega Man was
so
good.
it went by
Mega
so
Man was
quick. I
good.
was like, please do more.
Yes.
Like, oh my
I
gosh.
literally like threaded after that. I was like, okay, don't tease us anymore. Like, just green light that as a series. I will
Just
watch.
do a Mega Man
I will
series,
watch
yes.
every episode
100%.
when it drops. Like that was so good. So yeah, but Warhammer is very special. This world I didn't know about, and that game I think is going to introduce so much more people. The other game too, and that's so cool. I didn't even know that you play the tabletop one. I'd be super interested in that. So yeah, you guys already mentioned this for my number one because I have put significant amount of time in it already. Marvel Rivals. I am enjoying the shit out of it. I'm a Marvel stan, so of course I would. But it the more I dive into it, the mechanics, the counters, the team builds, all that stuff, it is a fun game. I love it. I'm having so much fun with this game. And they really did a good job of balancing the characters and then giving us all these different Marvel worlds. And I was playing with Kobe last night and we were just like jamming out for a few hours. And yeah, it's so complex, and yet the controls and everything are simple. But because it's simple, like it forces you to be more creative and use things in a unique way. Like I sent you guys that thing on Wolverine. Like everyone's like, he's a D-list character, F-list.
Is that the team captain guy?
He's insane.
Yeah,
Dominating people.
I was just gonna say that. Like that's like that. It kind of reminded me of Melee, where like you're like Bowser's shit, and then like when that Gimpy Fish guy first figured out. I mean, now they figured out how to beat him, but my brother was just telling me, there's like this Donkey Kong player right now. If whoever listens that plays Melee, there's a Donkey Kong player currently that's beating like top Marth players because there's just a new meta that they created. So now they got to figure out how to, and it's like, a game's good when they're figuring out how to like to make these low tier characters like win. And like just seeing this dude as Wolverine crush people, like just taking the tanks, and they're like, he's just doing this, but it's like not everyone could do that.
But
like you're seeing him
do it.
Yeah,
they
can't
stop
do
it.
I'm watching him play, and I'm like, dude, the fact that he tracks people down and like snipes them, I was like, holy crap, it's so impressive. And it makes you like hyped, like it's cool.
It just like it's like studying, or it's like when you were learning something new in school and then you're like, wait, what? And that opens up a whole new thing, like or like you're reading a book and then all of a sudden you're like, wait, what happened? And it changes the way you look at everything. That's kind of what this guy just did with Wolverine, but I think it's going to happen more and more. That's why you will never catch me putting out a tier list for video games ever. You probably never. I never will probably do that ever, but it's like because you just never know. In a year, you could look like a complete idiot. In 3 months, in 1 month, all those people look like idiots who made those tier lists. So it's like I'm gonna stay away from that. And this game is already there. But I want to play more all of these games with you guys because it was a fun year in video games. And we haven't even touched like some of the Nintendo stuff, some of the things that dropped for Xbox. Like there was great games, I think, all around. So it was another solid year for that.
It was good.
Yep.
And then my number one, Helldivers, it's fun.
Yeah.
We pretty much had the same.
We had the same. Yeah, we talked about it a little bit earlier, but I just like the mechanics of like it really makes you. Every other shooter game you can reload whenever the fuck you want. This game, like I'm like, okay, we're playing Helldivers again, guys. You gotta save your ammo. Like we gotta remind each other. Calling in stratagems. Like it's just like it's a cool little pivot on something you're familiar with. And it's over the top. There's like dudes that just fly in from the sky, and then you die and another one flies in. Like they just have unlimited people at their dispense, and you're just fighting like giant bugs. And, there's that nostalgia of Starship Troopers, which is like, it's funny. There's like an actual Starship Trooper game. This game's better than that. That kind of sucks for them. Right. But it's like, it's just great,
Oh yeah.
Kind
Well,
of sucks
you're
for them
just-
though, right? Yeah.
Yeah. You're like talking to me in my internal thoughts right there. You just said it out
Yeah.
loud. But yeah, they crushed it with Helldivers. And then they had that new DLC with like the new whatever those new aliens are that you have to fight. And then they kind of make people zombies. That shit
Yeah.
looks so fun. I can't
Yeah.
wait to go back and play some Helldivers after this.
For sure.
All right. I think that brings us to our last category, which is top comics / books, where you can also talk about comedians or comic books that you've read this year. Yeah, it was a tricky year for me because I realized I didn't read a lot of new comics. I read a lot of like old things that I'm trying to catch up into new stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, and
I think
then
that
have
counts.
yeah, because I mean, I did read it. I probably have read 100 X-Men comics in all different
Damn.
series this year.
Nerd.
It's
Yeah.
so huge nerd. But like anytime like a Marvel show comes out, like I try to like read some of the source material around it. So there was some like Agatha or like Scarlet Witch show books that I've read. And then like I got back into like old Fantastic Four because there was like a crossover event that was like so good from like 2021 or 2022. Anyways, so I've been all over the place. What do you guys got for yours? And yeah, Scott, if you want to take it away on Constellation / number 3.
Yeah, I'd say so. Again, I forgot that we could even include comics like stand-ups, you know. So for like if we're talking about consuming media other than shows and movies, I consume a lot of podcasts. Some of my favorite ones that I consume regularly, I've mentioned before, Are You Garbage and We Might Be Drunk. Cool, fun podcast. You can just throw on, do whatever. I recommend them. Honorable mentions. I guess number 3 would be, this is like an old one, and I guess the from what I heard, the creators coming back to like jump back into they took a long hiatus. Hunter x Hunter. It's like a really old anime, and like I started watching it too, and like it's weird. I didn't know that they did this recently too with Ranma One Half, but it's like they redo it, but they still keep that like old look to it, but it's just like sharper and whatnot. And they redraw scenes and whatnot. But so I'm watching the old one, but like the revamped one. It's still kind of old, and I'm reading it. Hunter x Hunter. It's a cool show.
Nice.
/ manga. Yeah.
That's awesome. And I was curious about it. I've started it, but it's kind of like One Piece has thousands of episodes or something, right?
Yeah, and it's like that traditional like shonen type of like, you know, like the main character is real strong, really genuine, and then it's about like the people they meet along the way, and like, you know, it's kind of a sucker for those as long as the stories are good. And then the battles and stuff are pretty awesome, pretty unique too. So kind of like how we're into like superhero stuff, and then we went to My Hero and it was like, oh, this is kind of like what we like but different. Like it's some of that kind of stuff, like when they introduce powers and whatnot, you're like, oh, this is sick. Okay. And so like, you know, it's an old manga, so there's like a lot to consume if you want to get into something.
Nice.
You know,
that's awesome. All right, I'll check that out. But yeah, I put it on before and I'm like, really? But I know if you stick with it, it's gonna get insane.
It gets way better than the beginning too. I was like, what the fuck is this? Dude, why do everyone keep recommending this damn show to me? It gets better.
yeah.
Like,
okay.
It gets
Nice.
better.
What about you, Drake?
I would say honorable man. Well, I not literally any comics, but as I was looking at comics that did come out this year, there was a few that stood out to me that were like I wouldn't mind getting into. Like comic book things. One of them was Marvel's Blood Hunt crossover by Jed McKay. Essentially, it's like Marvel meets vampires. So much like Marvel Zombies, but mostly vampires and things. That was kind of interesting.
It's pretty
Has
sick.
like
there was
Blade and Moon Knight, I think, are in it.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm not sure. Maybe Werewolf by Night or something, right?
Yeah, super interesting. Just like you know, monster trope plus Marvel's heroes. Like that's super interesting. And then there was 2 like standalone kind of comic series / like one-offs that were interesting only because they were so different. One of them was called Beneath the Trees Where Nobody Sees by Patrick Horvath.
Like
and
that
essentially
title.
it's definitely look it up. Essentially think about like do you remember, oh man, what was that show where there was like a car that was made out of an apple, and then there was just like
Richard,
you know,
The Wonderful World of Richard Scarry.
Yeah, The Wonderful World.
I don't know why that came to me so quick.
Dang,
I know,
nice
it came to me
pull,
super
man.
quick.
Good shit.
And onto Apple Car too.
Yeah.
But just imagine like that slash like Winnie the Pooh, but like there's like a serial killer on the loose.
Yeah, this art is great. Yeah, this
Art
is
is
great. I
crazy.
just Googled
Yeah.
it and it's like, it's familiar, but then
Mhm.
this duck's head's cut open. So it's like
Yeah.
kind of.
You're gonna have to send me that. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's wild.
And then so
What
that
is-
seems super interesting. And the third one was The Deviant by James Tynion the Fourth. And so this is kind of the synopsis. As snow falls over Milwaukee in 1972, a blood-stained Santa Claus commits unimaginable atrocities against young men. 50 years later, a troubled young writer interviews this so-called deviant killer who still maintains his innocence from behind bars. And as Christmas approaches, once again, the past returns wielding a sharpened axe.
That sounds cool.
Damn,
Image
That sounds
Comics.
crazy.
Yeah,
This is cool. This
image.
art looks good too.
That art is good too. And so,
Whoa.
You guys are so lucky you type fast.
yeah, it's the
Sorry, got an extra finger.
yo.
a few.
Dang, dude.
But
JK, I love you.
that's all
yeah,
good.
yeah. So in terms of like comic books goes, like super cool art, super interesting stories. Those are things I would definitely get into. But in terms of like comics, Ronnie Chang had a stand-up special on Netflix. I thought it was par for the course. Ronnie Chang just still doing real good work, so check him out if you can.
Nice. I gotta see
Sick.
that stand up still. Yeah. Okay. So in my constellation too, I have some stand ups where they're not really stand ups anymore. I do have one in there that is kind of one, which is Hassan Minaj, Off with His Head. I didn't
Mhm.
finish the whole stand up, but from what I saw of it, I really dug it. Him and Ronnie Chang kind of dual promoted their stand up specials together.
Oh yeah,
cool.
And yeah, that was fun kind of seeing them bounce off of each other, but also like promote each other. And then yeah, I saw bits from both. But yeah, I think Hassan, like he went through some crazy shit, getting blamed for like stealing jokes or like making up stories and yada yada. But
that was
like
rough.
there, a lot of comedians came to his defense and was like, hey, we all like, embellish sometimes to land the joke. And he came back and just kept showing up. So from what I saw of this special, I dug it. It's called Off with His Head. It's on Netflix. And then these guys are also, I guess, stand-ups. They're more comedians. Jon Stewart, John Oliver, I think they crushed it this year. Everything I watched from The Daily Show or the Weekend Update were both, or This Week Tonight, were hilarious. So those are my
Nice.
constellations. And then my number 3 will be a comic that I actually got to review for Nerd Initiative. It is a series. I should have looked it up more. Oh, here it is. A comic series that's from Boom Studio. And people are like, you're crazy, whatever. He finds out that he's half cartoon and that the cartoon
Ooh.
world is real. His mom also is half cartoon and his grandpa is like Yosemite Sam. And that there's an evil
What?
entity out
This is
there that's
awesome.
trying to kill him or take him down. And that he keeps finding other comic cartoon characters that are trying to like save him or help him in this adventure, but he's kind of dipping into like the way they draw the real world as opposed to like the cartoon world is very different, and it's kind of Looney Tunes versus like how you'd expect comics to draw the real world. The animation's incredible. I'm really digging it. I read like 7 issues in one day, and it's written by this guy Tony Fleeks. He crushed it. The artist Dave Watcher does really good. That first issue was just beautiful, really well done. It's interesting. I'm not loving the main character at where the series is at right now, but where it starts is holy shit, it's awesome. And they play off so many like 80s and 90s cartoon tropes. It's really funny. Probably 70s and 60s too, but yeah, it's called Uncanny Valley, done by Boom Studios.
Ooh.
Sick. Okay.
Yeah. Read my review on nerdinitiative.com.
I will.
Yeah. All right. Who wants to take it away on number 2?
Number 2, I can go.
Yep.
Okay, number 2, I have Solo Leveling.
Oh, hell yeah. I didn't
It's
watch this yet, but man, do people talk about it and love it.
yeah, season 1's great, and then I was like, I gotta read it now, and then I just like, there's like so much. It's like, so the comic's done. I've yet to finish it, but there's just a lot past what you can view in the show, and like it's just like it's one of those shows. Like, I mean, could be familiar, like Ichigo from Bleach or whatever. Like, the dude just keeps leveling up. You know, it's in the title. He's one of the only dudes who can do it, and it's cool. The art is great. The action scenes are great. Yeah, I strongly recommend it if you like seeing like a main hero just crushing it.
Nice. I
Yeah.
saw like Kaiju number 8 and Solo Leveling were like the shows that and Free Ren, I think.
Oh,
I
that
don't know
was
if I'm saying
good
it
too. Yeah, but I think it came out 2023, so I didn't mention it. But
right.
that was really good too. Like a
But
slice of life kind of anime was really good.
yeah, those two this year, or I guess 3, like I still see it all the time. Like the Kaiju number 8 has like the best action, blah blah blah. And so yeah, but Solo Leveling is up there, and like I see a lot of people talk about it. So I gotta try to check that out. I recently
Korean
got
manga.
Crunchyroll, so I gotta check it out.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, Drake.
I had said all my things already. That's my fault.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
What was your? Oh, okay.
It was
Gotcha.
the 3
did, yeah.
thingamabobs and then Ronnie Chang.
Yeah.
Those are my things.
Oh, okay.
Oops,
Hell
sorry.
yeah. All right. So my number 2 is going to a comic book series. And we've had him on the show before. His name's Art and Dave. They do a comic called California Inc. They dropped issue number 3 this year. And a really interesting premise. It's if California broke off from the rest of the country, became its own independent country, and that inside there was an internal fight for who would govern California as a state. And
Arnold.
so, yeah, it starts off with like a sniper battle in the snow in Tahoe, and it's since evolved into like all these breakout characters and stuff. And Dave's art, I might be a little biased, but I really do dig this comic. I think there's so much drama there. The characters are really well thought out. The dialogue that Art writes is very realistic. It's very like, oh shit, that's how somebody like this would talk. Dave has this way of like making things look really expressive and cartoony but gritty. Yeah, it's this nice blend. And so we're getting issue number 4 next year, but I really do enjoy this comic. It's an indie comic. There's a Kickstarter campaign right now for issue number 4, so you can jump in there. But yeah, not only are just like good dudes and good friends and people that you want to support, but the comic is legitimately interesting and fantastic. And like these variant covers are beautiful, like hands down. Like
Sick.
I would want a poster of them. So yeah, California Inc. Available now. We'll put the Kickstarter link in the show notes, but legit, issue number 3 was wonderful. Issue number 4, I believe, is coming out in January. So yeah, check it out.
Steve.
So good. Nice.
Yep. Do you have any more, Scott?
I do. Number 1 is one that's been around, but they keep making new stuff, so it's on here. One Piece.
Oh, nice.
It's good, man. Guys, it's good.
Tell me how.
It's real good, guys. You should check them out. The main guy, he's real strong and can punch real hard.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You get robot action.
What is his name? Saitama.
His name's Luffy, bro. Brother Luffy. Yeah, it's really good though. They're entering their like last, I think, arc. I want to say it's either the last arc or the last 2, but they're definitely in the last like 15%, 20% of like the series itself. It's actually gonna wrap up. I know it's been around forever, and it feels like it's gonna, stay around forever. But
it's not.
But it's not, guys. Like everything that's great, it comes to an end, and this is what's happening right now.
Yeah, I think the guy who created said it, he's like, he's kind of coming to an end. I think he's like ready to kind of wrap it up. So, but yeah, I gotta dive into the manga, and then I'm surprised. Like, how do you feel about? We just got confirmation the cast for One Piece season 2 just wrapped up in South Africa. Like, do you have high expectations for season 2 on Netflix compared to what you've seen in the anime and the manga? Why do I want to keep calling it manga?
You're so white, dude.
I know. I think I keep saying
manga.
Yeah,
manga.
That was terrible.
No,
Anyway,
it's okay. You caught it. I'm just like, I like the first one. It was fun. The first season, it was like really fun. It was one of those shows better than I thought. I'm not really a huge fan of like live action anime. It's just really hard to do, and like the budget's normally not there. One Piece is like such a goofy world. They somehow just like made it work. Like everyone's just, I don't know, like that whole feel, like them being goofy and the powers are kind of weird and the comedy, but also there's sometimes like really serious stakes whilst you're fighting a dude who can like, he's dressed like a baby or something, like it's just random
shark man.
Yeah, or like there's like especially in the first season, there's like a shark man. There's literally a dude like later in the series who he ate the swim fruit. So cool power. He can like dive into anything and just swim like
Okay, yeah.
through the earth. But like he dresses like a baby and he has like a pacifier and he's like Yakuza cool. But like he looks like a baby and you're like, what the fuck am I reading? but but then the fights are awesome. You're like, how do you fight a guy that swims through the earth? You know,
Right.
So it's like this constant, like you're laughing and going whoa, like throughout the battles and stuff. So there's something there
Yeah.
for everybody. But yeah, I'm just hoping it's fun. I hope it brings more people to the show slash the manga or whatnot, or the manga, if you will.
Manga.
Yeah. And I heard they're gonna redo, like they're gonna be a new rendition of the anime coming out, I think, where they condense it a little more. Because I think the way they did it before, it just made sense to the time, like the way they stretched out the show and everything. It felt like if you watch old Dragon Ball Z, we all know Goku charges up for days.
Yeah, like 6 episodes. He's
6 episodes. He's like, how is this spirit bomb gonna go off, dude? Just kill the guy. So I think they're gonna condense that down. And hopefully, new people check it out because I really like it. And I think other people will.
Yeah.
As well.
Sounds like a good manga.
Manga.
It sounds awesome. And then the last thing for me, I'm still doing this. I'm pretty sure I was doing this last year too. I was reading everything from House and Powers of X, and I'm still not quite there. Right now in the comic series for X-Men, they're doing all the From the Ashes. So Krakoa has fallen. It was literally called Fall of X. I am just at the part now where I'm getting into Fall of X. That will bring me into 2024. I have every new X-Men book sitting on my shelf. I haven't touched it yet because I'm trying to read as much as I can of that to get to this point. But I think because of how much I've read of that is kind of like my number one comic series this year. Every night I read like 3 issues or 4 issues or whatever. And it's been like a fun journey through it and seeing like new takes on X-Men, but also like the thing with X-Men too is there's a lot of history there, so they have to bring it up and you learn new dynamics for characters and stuff. And yeah, it's just been a fun time to be an X-Men fan. I can't wait to dive into the new thing and see how like this whole world has changed. But yeah, Dawn of X has been pretty cool. And I'm sure if you go on Reddit, there are people who love the Krakoan era. They love the Claremont era. They love the Krakoan era. And I get it now why Krakoa was such a big deal in the last 3-4 years when it came out, because it really did change the way that the X-Men worked in that world. It wasn't about we got to protect all the humans. It was like we have our own civilization, we have our own society, we have to protect us now. Like fuck everybody else. Humans aren't going to help us. We're never going to integrate. We got to do our own thing. And it was kind of cool seeing them build this society like little by little, and how like people who didn't get along kind of have to, because if you want to stay there, you have to get along. And yeah, Dawn of X has been pretty fantastic. I've learned a lot about a bunch of different characters, and they brought some characters back that I kind of knew from the animated series and stuff, and they've evolved them. And yeah, it's been fun. So I can't wait to get through this, but it's awesome. And then From the Ashes is next. So next year when we come back to this, I should be fully caught up through everything all the way up to like present day. And yeah, we'll see what happens. But they came out with 3 new series this year. I can't wait to dive into those. Yeah, I think Exceptional X-Men, Uncanny X-Men, and then just the X-Men are like the 3 different series going on. But
oh, cool.
It's been pretty cool. Yeah. So I think that's kind of it for our top. Let us know what you guys think about all of that stuff. Before we go though, is there anything in 2025 you hope for? Any last messages for the year? Because yeah, again, we put out almost 50 episodes this year. We showed up. We watched a bunch of stuff that we loved. We watched a bunch of stuff that I think we hated. We picked up some things. We read some things. Not all of it jived with us, but some things like we're like, wow, better than expected. It was a really interesting year, I think. I still really feel like there was a lot of COVID hangover in Hollywood in some degree. And yet I think that, and maybe like writer strikes and all that too, but shows just brought it. Like if you want to talk about, like people talk about 2023, it was like that was the year of video games. Like video games crushed it. I think in 2024, this in my mind will be the year of shows because every show that came out was actually fantastic. We almost needed a top 10, but yeah, it was just such a fun year. And for me personally with this podcast, there were so many more conventions I did this year. And there were so many more people I got to see in real life and just like hang out with and chit chat about like the stuff that we talk about, but like with people at a bar or on a convention floor, or like look at goodies and like see the people who like made the shit that we like talk about it. It was just such a fun year though, despite, not everything in movies being as good as I would have hoped, but still an amazing year nonetheless.
Hell yeah. Sorry, Ben. That was good. I had to take that in real quick.
I know. Yeah.
I think so. Next year, I wrote down some shows and movies I'm looking forward to.
Oh yeah. Lay it
Care
on.
to listen?
Let's do it. Are we do the things we're hyped for next year?
Yep.
Yeah. Let's do that.
Let's do it. Yeah.
So, like you were saying, like this year was a year for shows. I feel like next year has a lot of like continuing great shows.
Yeah.
We're looking at Severance, Andor, The Bear, more The Bear.
Yep.
Stranger Things is wrapping up.
Wait. None of us mentioned The Bear in our top shows either.
No, but
that's how
I looked
deep
it up.
this year
It
was.
ended.
Technically.
No, actually, it was this year.
It was this year.
I think it was my honorable mention.
Maybe
We're gonna have to go back and play the tape. If not, edit that in, Tom.
Okay. But like that's crazy. That's how deep this year was though.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's why it was just so much to love this year. It's crazy. Yeah, more The Bear. That's definitely another show I'm looking forward to. Stranger Things, Peacemaker. But I think the one I'm looking forward to the most is The Last of Us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Last of Us season 2 is coming back. Yep.
It's the first on your list, The Last of Us. So.
Yes.
Nailed it.
What about you, Drake? You got any thoughts, things you're looking forward to next year?
Oh man, there's tons of shit happening next year. Obviously, there's a bunch of Marvel things coming out next year.
Fantastic
Some
Four,
DC
Thunderbolts.
things. Yep, Thunderbolts.
Hopefully
Superman's
X-Men
coming
season
out.
2.
Daredevil Born Again's coming out, etc.
Yep.
Video games wise, Ghost of Yotei, which is essentially Ghost of Tsushima. GTA 6 is coming out next year as well too. And then I have like 5 movies that interesting that they're coming out next year. Jurassic World Rebirth, Predator Badlands.
Okay, yeah.
There's going to be a
Excited
Now
about that.
You See Me 3, the Magic movie.
Oh,
Really?
There's going to be number 3.
Those are fun.
Yep.
Crazy.
28 Years Later is coming out next year.
I
as well,
saw
too.
that too. I was like, Drake's gonna love this.
Yep. And then F1
That one too.
F1
I
is
was like,
coming
this
out
has
as
got to
well,
be
too,
Drake's number
with
one.
with Brad Pitts.
Yeah,
So-
yeah.
Yeah, it should be interesting. Next year should be. I'm also seeing on here Untitled Sony and Marvel Universe movie coming out in June of next year. And
Craven 2.
Craven.
Madam Web Part 2.
dude. Oh my god. And then there's going to be a bunch of other Disney things that are coming out in 2025 as well too, Untitled.
Ton.
So
Tons.
Interesting
Yeah.
stuff.
I think for me, the most hype list has got to be Fantastic Four and Superman. They come out supposedly
Yeah.
July of next year.
Yeah,
That's going to be crazy.
it's going to be busy.
But we kick off the year with Captain America: Brave New World. We end the year with Thunderbolts. We got Mickey 17, the guy who did Parasite, with Robert Pattinson. We got Electric State with Millie Bobby Brown and Chris Pratt, and by the Russo brothers. That's going to be interesting. We have Wicked Part 2, possibly. How to Train Your Dragon live action.
Live action.
Looks
And
pretty good.
Ballerina. And Ballerina from the John Wick world. I mean, that's good with Anna de Armas. And Keanu's in it. Like, that's going to be sick.
Yeah, it's going to be
Sir
interesting.
Keanu. Also,
Mhm.
I don't know if you guys like this movie as much as I did. Zootopia 2 is coming out.
Oh yeah, Zootopia is
nice.
coming out. Yeah.
I was a big
Nice.
fan of the
That's
first
right.
one. Yeah. And did you guys see the trailer of it looks like a interesting indie-ish film. I'm kind of interested to see it. Death of a Unicorn. You see that trailer?
Yes.
Oh, yeah,
new
That comes out next
A24.
year too. That looks
Paul
very
Rudd and
fun.
Jenna Ortega. That looks
Yeah.
super fun. I think it's gonna
Yeah.
be super weird. It's gonna be quirky, but like the cast is phenomenal.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That one's gonna be super interesting.
Yeah.
I dig that. Let's see. We got you talked about Severance, Invincible, Daredevil. One Piece is coming back.
Mhm.
Yeah, X-Men 97, and then we're getting Spider-Man, Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man.
Yeah.
So
I think I'm most hyped movie wise for Superman just because there's so much writing on this.
Yeah, dude.
And I have so much faith in James Gunn.
Yep.
And I feel like no matter the outcome, I feel like James Gunn's gonna make the best movie he can make, whether people like it or not. So
100%. Yeah.
you know what I mean. So that I'm
What did you guys
excited
think
for it.
about the trailer though? We didn't get a chance. Throw it in here.
I mean,
I liked it.
it was good. Yeah.
I really
you know,
liked it. Yeah.
It's a new
Um,
take on it. It showed some things that we want to see at the same point in time. It wasn't like too ridiculous where it's like, how the fuck are they gonna make this work?
Yeah. I think it was more emotional than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
Like it was like way, they're definitely going for like a gut punch and, like, oh, see Superman bleeding there. They Crypto take me home. And then
he
the
looked like he
music at the
received the gut punch.
end.
Yeah.
He did. Yeah.
Yeah.
His gut was coming out through his mouth kind of punch. But yeah, it looks so good. It's going to be
looks
such a
real
great year. Yeah. We've hell of a year, guys. Appreciate you guys. It's so fun
Same.
that we've continued to do this 3 years in. Yeah, let us know if you made it this far in the episode. Let us know what your favorite movies, shows, games, books have been this year, because yeah, it was just a ride, man. It was so fun. Yeah, I love this year. It's crazy that we're coming to a close, and we'll see what happens in 2025. Maybe we change things up, because we did some things towards the end of the year that were a lot different. And I'm not afraid of evolving the show and making it different. If you have suggestions, let us know. But I think we're gonna revamp. We'll probably be back, I want to say, in the second week of January, probably, or third week of January. We have to talk about it. So hang on till then. And in the meantime, yeah, let us know what you want to hear more of. And yeah, if there's something we should try, or if there's something we're not watching and should, please let us know, because I'm down. Do it. All right, guys.
Hell yeah.
Anything else? All right. We
Just,
could do it in unison.
yeah. Thanks for sticking it with us
Thank
for
you.
the new year. What? Oh, sorry.
Sure.
And 3, 2, 1.
Thanks
Thanks
for
for
sticking
sticking it with us.
in
2024.
the new
Hey,
year. Wait, I thought we were gonna say what you just said.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
what I thought too. But then
It
know.
also sounded it was at like 0.5 speed.
You're
I
throwing
was
it
like, I lost it.
Ding ding bing 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 bing.
The Joy Schtick Show. The Joy Schtick Show.